what to do. So we established a comment period and asked people what they thought we should do. September 10th to the 22nd. And for instance, should we go beyond transplant pathology? There are some really big questions here, like the future of pathology as a discipline and the fact that we are the least popular specialty of all the specialties in medicine, and the number of US pathologists is plummeting. So should we talk about that? And so people felt we should talk about those big picture issues. The other thing that just kind of interesting is that people who have no educational component to what they're doing work in a non-academic setting and very seldom show pathology to clinicians wonder why you needed to have biopsies appearing on TV screens, but they couldn't see any harm in it, really, so that was a little bit amusing. So I am going to give a presentation then based on the input I got during this comment period. So digital pathology, should we go there? It's an interesting question because there are in the world in 2019 only 30 pathology departments that are completely digitized. In 2018 there were 25, so it's going slowly. So if you dig in your heels and say, we are not going there, you'll probably be among the majority. On the other hand, digital pathology is a part, really, of digital medicine, and that is has a momentum that can't really be stopped, and is a part of a lot of other things, personalized medicine and so on. So a lot of promotional money has come into pathology, laboratory medicine, and that is where the magazine, The Pathologist, comes from. That's largely funding from the digital pathology world that is new with the FDA approval and so on, the signs that this could be a part of routine clinical practice. And it's very interesting how unsuccessful that has been. On the one hand, when you read The Pathologist, you would think that pathology is the Hollywood of medicine. That that there's nothing icky or off-putting, that everything is positive and gets your endorphins flowing, and our graphic presentation of laboratory medicine pathology has improved very much, but every year we are less popular than we were the previous year, and we are by far the least popular medical specialty, getting farther and farther from all the other medical specialties. And the number of practicing pathologists in the US continues to go down, which is sort of the opposite of all these other futuristic things happening. So is there a danger? There is a close tie between Alex's presentation and my own. Is there a danger in AI? Because by digitizing pathology, you do enable AI. And then there are two interesting examples of showing how AI can work in ways that promote the interests of human beings. One is the translatotron, which probably many of you have heard of somehow. You would think that translation would always require intervening text. So this is a new technology as of June 2019, where you go directly from the sounds of one language to the sounds of another language, very accurate, very quickly, without any intervening text. It's just sound to sound, and it's something you would all recognize. Humans could not possibly do that on their own. It's only with machine assistance that we can get that. And in every big pharma company now, rather than doing studies designed by human beings, done by human beings, and testing sort of one idea at a time, there's multi-dimension experiments being done that are done by microfluidics, designed by computers, carried out by robots, and analyzed by machines. And it's not just a few pharma companies are doing that, virtually everyone is doing it. And both of those efforts, the translatotron and the way pharma companies function now, benefit us. We're getting better drugs faster, we're getting better translation than we ever thought possible. So very many other things that are AI dependent will presumably go the same way. Mogi and I did 8 videos in the past 18 months promoting various things in this space and trying to remove the untrue online statements. And the odd thing about it was how successful we were. Everything we complained about, people altered, changed, took down. And so that's one of the reasons that I'm thinking that if you're sitting there and when I talk to you about the big picture things here, if you think this can't be changed, I can do nothing, nothing can be changed, that is probably wrong, and each of you can do something. So let's take these 2 graphs that show in the US that the number of US medical school graduates going into pathology is rapidly going down, has been going down, and is now going down faster than it was before. And here that is slightly bigger. You can see the separation between the far left lower dot, which is pathology, and all other specialties. And then if you look at the number of US pathologists, you can see that is also rapidly going down. And it's not simple. It's not that there are all these open jobs and that it's really, really easy to find a job. It's also the number of jobs is going down as the number of pathologists is going down. It's a rather complex scenario. So presumably, it seems inevitable to me that by promoting digital pathology and by being better role models and by having medical students shadow us and so on, that we can turn around these manpower and popularity problems. But are we dealing with a completely enlightened audience here? Almost certainly not. In other words, there is going to be resistance. Like when you think of the meeting report from this meeting, what is the digital pathology part of that going to say? If we are completely positive, like we have bought the Kool-Aid here, it's possible that the AJT editor wouldn't take something that is so promotional of something that they regard as unpopular. It's possible that the other authors of the meeting report also would not accept it. So, not unlike many white papers, many published white papers are part of the supplementary material of an article and are more positive on the subject of the white paper than the actual article that they are the supplement to. And that may indeed happen to us, as has happened. Now, if we then have to convey a conservative view, what would be the elements of that view? And I think Richard Levinson, many of you are aware of his article in The Pathologist, July 2019. He's the guy that has done the pigeon breast diagnosis article that most of you are aware of. And he's talking about 2 problems. One is with the business model, and the other is with the nascent technology, the things not worked out about digital pathology. And so if we are forced to, in part of what we write, based on this, to have a conservative view. I think it would be Richard's ideas we would use. It's sort of hard to know who to pick as the person as your best futurist. Ray Kurzweil is the best known name out there. Think of what you believe will exist in the next 20 years. Because Ray Kurzweil says that by the end of the 2030s, we will be routinely and successfully, and it will be popular to upload our consciousness to inorganic substrates. It seems to me it's impossible that most human beings would want to do that. It's not that it couldn't be done. So it's hard to really find people to be your own personal futurist to tell you where the future is going. So let's just look at what happened in this magazine. In 2017 and 2018, there were many incorrect statements made. But the funny thing is that in 2019, the magazine has become completely truthful. So these are some of the things said before. AI pathology is never going to replace pathologists. Nobody should feel threatened. All this comforting language. But in 2019 now, what is happening is that suddenly you have like the truth coming out. Pathology is great for women and for having families because there will be many part-time positions and so on. So, in a sense, we may be the cause of this by complaining so much about the mistruths. Now suddenly the truth is coming out, but it's not improving the manpower, the recruitment situation, and the continuing decline in the number of pathologists in the US. So these articles are great, but we also need to do our part by engaging the inevitable digital pathology future enthusiastically, providing good role models to attract more medical students to pathology. Lots of existing work does that. Promotion of digital pathology helps to promote pathology in general. These are Laura Barasoni's papers in this area, which you probably know. And Yukako Yagi, who will speak next, has many visually intriguing and inspiring pictures of what you can do with various ways of imaging organs. And she and I go back a very long way. I recruited her to her first academic position at the University of Alberta and University of Pittsburgh in the 1990s. And so there is a long history there that I'm very proud of, and it's nice to see that she is the keynote speaker in almost every digital pathology congress now. So the question would be, how shall we present this? You will be aware that there are videos that say that within the next 5 to 10 years, every pathology department will be digitized. But it seems that since there are only 30 pathology departments digitized today, that it's probably not very likely. So our digital pathology white paper should make a statement. It should have a point of view, but it could have a different point of view slightly in terms of the journal text as opposed to the white paper itself. So any questions for me at this point? We are going on to Yukako speaking next, and then Brad Ferris will present what we would propose as the first project of the digital pathology BAMF working group, if that working group heard from many of you based on the video that we did, but I wonder if anyone, yes?
Very interesting presentation, but I'm in a pathology department. I just have a question. What do you mean by 30% of the departments are completely digitized? Because I'm not digitized, and I'm the HLA director. So.
No, I mean the anatomical pathology is routinely being scanned, and it's being used in terms of communication between pathologists and sort of like what you see at Memorial Sloan Kettering, that it is completely integrated into anatomical pathology. I'm not talking about being throughout all of laboratory medicine.
Okay, so you don't mean that everything's digitized, you mean that there's good communication?
No, I mean everything is digitized, that every slide is digitized.
But is that for archiving or actually for interpreting?
For both, yeah.
Okay, so the resolution's gotten to the point where you can actually be as good as your eyes and brain?
Yes, if you do it at 40x, and you probably saw from my video, if you're philosophically opposed to what you're doing and yet still scanning, then you'll scan at 20x where you get empty magnification. You'll scan dirty slides, which are really unappealing to capture dust for 1,000 years. You'll scan IF slides as if they were immunoperoxidase, giving completely worthless scans. So there's also a lot of that going on, sort of going through the motions of digital pathology without producing usable scans. Yes.
I think that before we move, I would just like to make a comment as who's not a pathologist but who uses a lot of histology slides, and that is that I think that there's a spectrum now where I think that most people still use the conventional approach because it works, right? And there's not an alternative really to totally replace that. And a lot of times we're using AI for research purposes to get more detailed read, which is the way I look at what we're doing at Mayo. There's no need for a clinical transformation to digital pathology at the Mayo Clinic. They tried it, the nephrologists didn't need it. But if there was a technology that came along and totally replaced the way that we read biopsies or significantly augmented the life of those few people who are willing to do pathology, I think people would welcome it. And that's what it is. We're just not at that time frame right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a controversial point. You can have a controversial point about something that doesn't exist. We're not there yet. We are probably going to get there. There's going to be a great augmentation of what everyone can do, even in the operating room as a surgeon. And I do think that that's important. There is an intermediate step here that I think is important, is we are using this manual morphometry, a more continuous scoring system. Those potential exist. It's way too much work to do on the clinical level. I wouldn't recommend it. But for clinical trials, we have to do it.
Yeah, so you
transition things.
You make an interesting point, and what I've said is, if you reject it even for small educational projects, if you say we're not going to scan any slides, we're not going to do it at all, then no medical student associated with you is going to decide to go into pathology and laboratory medicine because they'll think that you just don't get what's happening.
I'm not sure that that's the rationale for technological change, is that people
You're not speaking into the microphone.
I think that's not the argument here. I think that the workforce issue is not the issue, in my opinion. It really should focus on the technology, what's the best way to interpret a biopsy, and the utility of that technological advance. An airplane was a big technological advance over walking, so take the airplane. And I do think that should be the focus. The workforce issue is a separate issue that has many origins, and surgery has a similar kind of workforce issue. And I don't think it's the focus of a white paper.
Yep. What happened with the microphone here? Yeah.
We got it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm actually in a community practice-based hospital in Florida, and I found it really interesting that in your questionnaire, the community pathologists were not interested in digital pathology. I'm the only GI pathology in my practice. We're opening a liver transplant program, and I am very interested in digital pathology because it would allow me to have real-time consultation.
Right. Well, but some people do practice completely isolated pathology, where there are no clinicians to show things to, there's no learners, and so, but even then, it doesn't harm them in any way to have the images on a screen. They just thought it was sort of quaint, you know, that it didn't really serve a purpose. When the only person ever looking at that slide is the single pathologist signing it out. But in transplantation pathology, we don't have that because we're all in an academic university setting as such.
But you're not. They're opening a lot of transplant programs in community-based, non-academic centers, and that's exactly where you need to connect with the people.
Because there's somebody else to show it to. Yeah, and that's the easiest way to do
It's
it.
not even just an educational, it's practical, clinical value to digital pathology. So move forward. It's great.
Yeah.
I think, Mark, you raised an important point, and Kim, I would disagree that there is only 30% of pathology institutions using digital pathology. The technology is probably almost everywhere available. It's just that those small number is where you do
Where it's complete.
Has always been a roadblock to adoption by saying, oh, when you do digital pathology, you have to do it end to end.
No, you
The
don't.
need for our community is to define the context of use. So everybody of us would be happy if we do not have to count glomeruli anymore. So you get it scanned, you get the number of glomeruli, you get the amount of interstitial fibrosis. If there would be, like Brad published, one Banff algorithm for interstitial fibrosis, it could be even flawed, but we all measure it the same way.
Yeah.
And that can go into clinical trials, that can go into the iBox. And so what I'm looking for this white paper is where to start. It's one question. Second is, how do we link it to an electronic health record, right? The digital files and the numbers. And then from there they can be exported to whatever data platform you want to use for research or clinical trials. And once the slide is digitized, it can be used for consultation and all secondary usage. We need to avoid that digital pathology is about replacing anything in the interpretation. It is an adjunct where it helps, right?
Yeah.
If we have, as a goal, could have the definition of context of use, what are our priorities, and then validate consensus around those.
Yep. No, I fully agree. Okay, so let's move on to Yukako's presentation, followed by Bradford's.
Thank you. And then, as Dr. Solez introduced, because of him, I could survive over 20 years in the United States. So I'm really happy to work with him again. But my institution right now is a cancer center. So many of my images is about cancer. But the last part of my talk, I have some kidney and heart transplant related images. And then before starting my talk regarding the question, I say our hospital, we have over 20 clinic scanner for clinical sign out. But we don't use for sign out primary diagnosis yet. But all pathologists really love to have it, and then daily basis we using it. And then the fully integrated LIS, and then we have 20 scanner, and then we have 18 full-time maintenance person, actually engineer, IT person to maintain the scanner and the cleaning slide, but still we saving the time running a course, so the department actually reduced it. And then the turnaround time like 1 day shorter than before we start digitizing. So understand my talk. How to start. Yeah. So many people talking about whole slide imaging when we talk about digital pathology, but my talk is including like many different modalities. It is same pathology modality, but different modality. So like when we have like imaging system and also want to integrate actually integrating AI in the working environment, actually clinical environment, we really have to have the plan how we want to use AI and the imaging and all kind of different data, how to manage it. And then we are developing the database to manage and to reach high performance cluster and also all the imaging device and the database. So then, we have many projects. So all the projects, so we have the same kind of workflow. So even for the fish like single cell analysis or fish or cyst analysis, so we start scanning whole block, entire block we scan. And also if we have access to fresh tissue, we start scanning fresh tissue using micro-CT. So like why we use micro-CT, I will explain later. So then when we reach the glass slide, even the preparing glass slide, we try to make high quality of slide as high as possible. So using automated sectioning machine to have like standardized and then uniform tissue section and staining, and then we select appropriate best fit scanner for each project. Like cytology or cyst analysis, like we have to have a very high quality of scanner. So we're using truly 40x. That means like 0.13 micron per pixel or 0.16 micron per pixel. Most of scanner is actually 0.25 micron per pixel resolution. So and even for multiplex fluorescence, so like normal multiplex fluorescence, we don't need to use confocal. But when we use for fish analysis, we use confocal whole slide imaging scanner. So then we're moving from histology 3D to whole block imaging. So actually, not replacing, it's combining both. So both modality can help each other. So then, this example about lung cancer. So usually when we start, we try to develop a 3D histology 3D. We put the block and the sectioning machine, and then we section like 5 micron or like 4 micron thickness, and then usually like 100 to 200 slide. But we didn't know how many slides we're supposed to use, so we started from 300, 500 slide. But then we scan and then create 3D. So then the first application we had a very impact for other people. I say this is lung cancer and adenocarcinoma. So this is the tumor cluster. So I don't know how to use the pointer. So this is tumor cluster. So that's one like with the smaller tumor. So most people thought before 3D, the people thought it's an isolated smaller tumor, but actually we found smaller tumor actually connected each other or select toward the main tumor. So that's one without 3D, we couldn't find it. So that's one like more than like about 10 years ago this study. So after that, I moved to Memorial a couple of years ago. So after I joined Memorial, we started another study using 3D. So they split through airspace. So we call it stars. That's one. Actually, it's on tumor island. I explained last slide. That's one part of stars. It's one type of stars. It's entire tumor clusters here. So this is the red line thing. It's stars. So then the point is that when we have a tumor cell, this is the cell in lung cancer and carcinoma, the prognosis is very bad. So even stage 1, next year may have recurrence. So this is the criteria we have to look at when we make a diagnosis. So then how this free float cluster is surviving? So then using 3D imaging, we found how to survive. So then we found the tumor cluster attached to alveolar wall. So that means that it's not free floating in the air. So it's really attached to the alveolar wall. And also, it's shaping like a wall. So many pathologists classify like ring type, but actually not just ring. It's when we create 3D, it's like a ball. So they also like another question, like we had the co-option, the concept of co-option. So that when tumor growing, so without increasing any blood vessel, like just using existing vessel, so that's a symptom like we said co-option. So that's one also no one proved how starts like tumor cells surviving. So this is the video that is saying that this red one is the tumor cell and then attached to alveolar wall. So that green is CD31. So this one is another view of 3D. So then those we could show, we could see like how 3D imaging is important for clinical. And then like now we're not using it daily basis, but some of the case we use it. So then also like when we at MGH, we try to do like whole organ, like whole brain, but it was very lot of data and a lot of process. It's kind of very impossible to do it. So like then we started like how we can do it. So then we thought maybe micro CT. So micro CT we use for fresh tissue or tumor margin detection during the frozen section. And then this case is whole block imaging. We just put this block on the micro CT and we scan it. So this is the tumor island. So the one this study actually at MGH, we made like 300, 500 slides and we stained and we wasted 300. But this study, actually I didn't use any single slide for several cases. So this poster actually we presented at US CAP this year. So then even at colon rectal cancer, like when we have the black area is colon cancer part. So from only from the black part, we can create 50 whole mount block. 50 whole mount block means whole mount block is 4 times bigger than normal block. So like, so then like, this one we have a space because we have serious the slide for clinical and then waste card. So when we show this kind of image, like lab also important to scan fresh tissue or a fixed tissue because they start dissect. So now like we scanning the tissue before we dissect. Then we using machine learning to teach micro CT image using histology images. So we don't make all like 1,000 slides, but we making like 10 slides per block and teaching. So it depends. We work with the surgeon and the endoscopist and also radiologist. So it depends on the person where the person seeing. So like for pathologist, we making like look like it's an image, and then for radiologist, we keep the original images. So many, actually even surgeons, they prefer to see look like it's an images. So this one digitally, and they also digitally stain. And they also this one using deep learning, so we can detect the blood vessel or many other different components. This is just an example of vessel segmentation and extraction. So we are working on many different things. So then this one last part, but I have 2 organs. So this one, the video is supposed to start. it's kidney, it's the entire whole kidney we scan. It's micro-CT. But this data actually really many years ago data, so the quality is not good. And the entire one. So then we started the arrow pointing look like glomeruli. So we can start looking at glomeruli using just micro-CT. So then we can connect to histology 3D. So, and then this is the original images Dr. Kim Solez showed. So they're using this technology, actually we are looking at different things from the clinical slide, one clinical slide, and then we're looking at the entire block. So then we find a different type of structure in the lower part of the block. So actually this is next year, we are right now, like this week, we are submitting abstract for USCAP, 8 different abstracts from pathology department. Actually this one, like not our, more pathology department, pathologists want to use this technology for moving to clinical. So this scanner is very busy right now. So then this is the heart transplant because to find out chronic rejection. So this work with Dr. Corbin when I was at MGH. So the part we have to look for is very tiny. So then also the measurement is important. So the measurement is like when we measure with the histology slide, sometimes it depends on the angle. So the section, the length may be not accurate. But using 3D, we can measure correctly. So this one's normal transplant. So this is the most important slide. This one, the measuring the thickening is 33 micron with histology slide. But using 3D images, we could measure like 16 micron. So that means so the 16 micron is the right measurement. So using histology 3D imaging, doesn't matter histology slide 3D or micro-CT, we can measure more accurate. Actually, right now we are measuring the volume of metastatic cancer part. So that's one pathologist really happy to see. So this one is the rejection. So the people here, everyone knows transplant, so I'm not going to explain about case. So then the point is we can measure all different directions. So X, Y, Y, Z, Y, Z, X. So that means we can measure more accurate than just measuring by slide. So that's one we found a good result. So this is the last slide. So I can't see. The screen is too far, so I cannot see what I'm writing. So, but the AI is very important, and also standardization and thinking of the optimization. So the collaboration with all other departments also important. So for the transplant, so when I was in Pittsburgh, so I was working with many surgeons and also different groups. So it was important to have real multimodality, digital imaging white paper. Thank you.
So those were great talks, and I'm not sure if there's even time for this talk, or yeah. Okay, so basically, what I'd like to say is that I definitely think a white paper could be useful, as Dr. Mingle said, as far as laying out, starting to establish sort of a structure for our algorithms. And, this talk I kind of put together some of the algorithms that we presented in actually the prior Banff work that we did on fibrosis. And so I think that putting, the fibrosis algorithm, maybe with, eventually an image bank, I can foresee us having an image bank that we can test our algorithms against. And I know there are a lot of groups here establishing algorithms, but, it'd be great to have a way to test to see which group has, different algorithms going to perform in different ways. Some are going to have strengths in certain areas, and so I think it'd be great to establish ways to eventually improve reproducibility of the measurements, and also, provide better clinical correlations. And I think the presentations before have been great and actually have laid out a lot of the things that I was going to say. So I think basically there's actually going to be on Thursday a working lunch of digital pathology. It'll include liver and kidney and heart, and I think Dr. Solez said also tomorrow there's going to be some time for this. So I think in the interest, I don't want to keep people from their lunch because it's that time. So, but that basically is a quick summary. So thank you.
So an interesting week ahead of us. I think this lays the foundation for some interesting discussions for the rest of the week. It sounds like that will be a very interesting group of sessions. So thanks everybody for attending and for your questions, and we look forward to talking about this the rest of the week.